on plagiarism and the originality of ideas. You're plagiarizing my ideas, stealing my intellectual property. We often make this mistake. When we come up with something new, we tend to claim it as our own. It's like, this is my idea, or what you said is plagiarism. But in reality, I believe this happens because we haven't experienced enough. In this universe, in my view, nothing is truly new. Someone has always seen something similar to us. It's just presented in a different form or with different words. When I've experienced and observed life deeply, I've come to realize things that previous generations have seen. A clear example is the similarity between Buddhism and Stoicism. You might not believe it, but if you look deeply, you'll see both paths lead to one common point: learning to let go of what we cannot control. To me, letting go doesn't mean giving everything up. It means living with those things, but realizing they're not as important as they once were. Letting go of money isn't about not using it. It's about using it without letting it control you as it used to. That's what letting go is all about. Things we can't control. Next, I want to talk about what we can't control. Let's try listing what we can control in life. You want it to be sunny to dry your clothes. Can you control that? No. You want to win the lottery to change your life. Can you control that? No. You want a stranger to fall in love with you immediately. Can you control that? Also, no. So what can we really control in this world? Even what's in our own minds is hard to control completely. I'm not sure if I'll wake up tomorrow. If I meet someone I like, can I control my feelings? Also, no. Even the wisdom I claim as my own isn't truly mine. I think I'm just borrowing it from the universe for a while. Truths and laws are discovered by humans, not created. The ego and dissatisfaction. You might think you're wise and know everything, but if there's still something in life that makes you angry, then I believe your ego is still very large, and you're not as wise as you think. Like when my social media reach was limited the other day, I still felt angry. In that moment, I realized my ego was still there and I was still confused. I think this confusion spares no one, no matter how wise you are, unless you've reached enlightenment. But if you're still dissatisfied with life, if you still feel that this isn't right or that isn't fair, then that big ego disguised as wisdom is still there. A big head but a small heart with no room for anyone but yourself. If you understand karma on a deeper level, you'll see that nothing in this world happens by chance. Everything is a continuous chain of balance. Our criticism of a society we're always unhappy with is simply because we only see a small part of that karmic chain. But if you look wider and deeper, you'll see there's nothing out of place. Karma is absolute justice. Happiness, now, not tomorrow. When you start to feel special or important, I think you should be careful, as it could be a sign of confusion. And if you're confused, I believe it's just karma for you to learn and become less so. Truths and knowledge in this world are all things people discover, not create. So, if someone says something similar to you, perhaps they've just discovered a similar truth. The things I say are just things I've heard, discovered, and reflected on. When I realized this wisdom isn't my own, my mind naturally became less competitive and I felt less important. Every time I think about death, I see how precious time is. Just trying to live a decent life takes up all my time. I'm no longer interested in competing with the world. Life is so short. Why be indifferent? When can we finally be happy? Our minds focus on three tenses: past, present, and future. But I believe there's only one. The present is a continuous flow with no beginning or end. The past is gone, and the future is a day that will never arrive. Both the past and the future are just a delusion of the mind. We're always reminiscing about the past and chasing the future, living in an illusion instead of reality. I once had a young employee ask me, "Can I be happy right now instead of waiting for happiness tomorrow?" I smiled and asked if he watched TikTok for more than 180 minutes. He said no. He just heard the phrase, "Don't postpone happiness." He said many people advise working hard to be happy in the end, not to rush to enjoy life. I told him that statement is true. We often wait for something to happen and think we'll be happy when we have it. I pointed to a mansion across the street and asked, "Do you like that mansion?" He said, "My family is poor. All my life I've dreamed of having a house like that." I said, "Let's say you can buy it now. You'd be very happy. But if you can only afford it in 15 years, then for the next 15 years, you won't be happy, right? That's because you've placed your happiness in the future and it's being postponed. Conditional happiness is something you can't always control. It rises and falls with changing conditions. What if you buy the house, but due to something you can't control, you have to sell it a few months later? Did you wait 15 years just to be happy for a few months? Instead, if you learn to be content with your current apartment, you'll be happy for the next 15 years. Buying a house would just be an added joy. That means you'll always be happy, whether you buy the house or not. Life lessons. I know some people might call this excessive optimism, but are you sure you'll live for another 15 years? Life is so impermanent. Living in an apartment for 15 years is definitely better than living in a mansion for a few months and then kicking the bucket. You're waiting for a tomorrow that meets your wishes, but this life never bends to your will. When things don't go your way and you get angry, you immediately feel pain. But when you maintain a calm state of mind, do the best you can, and don't demand anything, you have nothing to worry about. I remember when my daughter was born, she would cry a few times a night. Her cries were so loud the whole neighborhood could hear them. I was so embarrassed about disturbing the neighbors that I tried my best to soothe her, but after a while, she would wail again. All night, I had to walk around with her in my arms, never getting a full night's sleep. I felt miserable, but a baby doesn't mean to be that way. I couldn't control whether she cried or not. The second time she cried, I accepted that I wouldn't be sleeping that night. If the neighbors got angry, so be it. But luckily, she didn't fuss all the time. She slept for 2 hours, and I managed to grab 2 hours of sleep as well. If I waited for her to stop fussing to finally get a good night's sleep, who knows how long I would have had to wait. So 2 hours was good enough. I just enjoyed that short period of peace. If she started fussing again, I'd deal with it then. We can't know, and the baby can't know. Just be happy now. When you have an opportunity, don't postpone happiness. If you can't be happy now, when will you be able to? On ethics and work and one's own path. In my opinion, the ethics of your boss and colleagues are more important than your salary. A bad work environment can easily affect your mind. Many times you don't want to do bad things, but if everyone else in the company does, you might have to go along with it. My view is, losing money is not a big deal. Losing your health is a partial loss, but losing your ethics is losing everything. There's nothing left. Upholding your ethics means keeping good karma. The universe operates on a principle of absolute justice. If you do something bad today, you'll have to face the consequences tomorrow. Even if you do it for a noble reason, like providing for your family, the universe still has its own rules, and there are no exceptions. To avoid eating bitter fruit in any job, you should always leave yourself a way out, a lifeline. For example, if your boss asks you to sell a low-quality product, you have the right to refuse, even to resign. What is your lifeline? It could be enough savings to get by until you find a new job. Or you have the professional skills and good connections to ensure that when you leave, another opportunity is waiting for you. Always make sure you have one of those two things, or both. When you do, no one can force you to go down a path against your conscience. Unless you have no conscience. But either way, the law of karma operates fairly. In this day and age, I think no one dies of starvation. They might just be uncomfortable for a while. Hold on to your conscience. Heaven won't let you down. Money is just a tool for you to live in alignment with who you are. Making money at the expense of your ethics will create bad karma and affect those you love. The father eats salty food, the children thirst for water. Finally, I believe you should build up your health through exercise. A healthy body leads to a healthy mind, and a healthy mind means wisdom will expand. Wisdom will help you stay awake and clear-headed so you don't do things that will lead to eating bitter fruit later. When you're clear-headed, you'll know what to focus on to improve your skills. With high skills, you'll find it easy to make money anywhere. This is a fact, not just something from a book. Back in the day, I always tried to keep at least 3 months' worth of salary in my account. Sometimes it was 6. This meant I was always in a position where no matter how bad a job situation got, I had enough to live for half a year while I looked for something else. I know you might say a recent graduate doesn't have money or skills, but you have to understand you need to work harder than others because you don't have that foundation. However, I believe that's not a reason to sell your conscience short. Life is impermanent and nothing lasts forever.